Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's head-to-head comparison, let's take a look at the 2025 BMW M340i and the 2024 Lexus IS500. I've borrowed both of these from Hendrick BMW and Hendrick Lexus Northlake, so take a look at their websites. Those are down in the description below. Let's start off with the starting MSRPs for both of these sporty sedans. The M340 starts at $59,600 and the IS500 comes in at $60,000. Now as tested, we have $68,000 and $64,000 for the BMW. So they do have some added options for today's video. Now as far as powering both of these, there's the 3-liter twin power turbo inline 6 with the hybrid system for the BMW. It's paired to the 8-speed automatic, pumping out 386 horsepower, 398 pound-feet of torque. For the IS500, this has a 5-liter naturally aspirated V8, also paired to an 8-speed automatic, and it pumps out 472 horsepower, 395 pound-feet of torque. Now the IS500 is only available in rear-wheel drive. The BMW is rear-wheel drive, or you can get the X-Drive all-wheel drive system. We have curb weights of 3,900 pounds, 0 to 60 in 4.1 seconds for the BMW, 4.4 seconds for the IS500, and then top speeds are going to be a 149 for the IS500, 180 for the M340. As far as MPGs go, you're looking at 23 in the city, 31 on the highway for the BMW, 17 and 25 for the IS500. Now as we work our way to the exterior styling, you'll notice we have a significant difference. For the Lexus, it has the hourglass design with the gloss black accents. There's also the sensor for the distance pacing in that Lexus badge, along with the forward-facing camera and parking sensors. There's also a lot of inlets to provide additional cooling. Now for the BMW, there's the kidney grille, so there is a separation with the upper and lower section. This model also has the forward-facing camera, all the parking sensors, and tons of cutouts to provide additional cooling. There's also a much different design for the headlight housings. A little bit slimmer for the Lexus, a little bit larger for the BMW there, but both are nicely integrated into the bodywork that surrounds it. And then both of the hoods are kind of similar with some subtle lines that are coming down. The IS500 has 4 though, versus the 2 on the BMW there. Now as we work our way to the side, this IS500 has the optional 19-inch BBS wheels. You'll notice that the Lexus brake calipers are finished off in black. For the BMW, the M Sport brakes are either red or blue, and that is the standard wheel that you can get. Now there's an F Sport badge just behind that. There's also gloss black on the mirrors with the camera and the turn signal. Same goes for the 340 with the camera and the turn signal. Both of these do have a sunroof, so that is nice to see. And then as far as their side designs go, we do have some similarities with the lines, especially in the lower section. You'll notice for the IS500, however, that they do split off. So there's one just behind that front tire there, and then on the back, a little bit different of a curve for that lower section. We have window trim that's also gloss black to give them more of that sporty appearance. So kind of similar. Those back cargo windows are slightly different. But as we work our way to the rear end now, this has a gloss black spoiler. There's also the LED bar that runs right through the trunk. There's gloss black, that quad tip dual exhaust with the offset exhaust tips, which is really neat to see. And then as we work our way to the cargo space, there's a button up underneath. And for this sedan, you have quite a lot of space. There's also the spare tire underneath the floor where you could place in some added items as well. And you can even fold down the back seats for a little bit more space. There's one grab handle on that right side, and you can easily close that. So for its size, it's pretty practical. Same goes for the 340 here. Now this has a smaller gloss black spoiler. We have a different design for the taillights. There's no bar that runs through it. Gloss black in that lower section, backup camera, all the sensors, and then just a dual exhaust system for this model. Now we have the same button up underneath to open up the trunk. Neither of these are power operated. That is an option though for the 340. And you have some storage bins on both sides, no spare, no storage under the floor, but you can fold down these back seats as well, where I think you get a little bit more space with the cutout for the BMW. Now these grab handles are hidden, so they're on the back side of the trunk there, but still easy to close. Now as we work our way to the interior, there's no proximity door handle for the 500, so you can't unlock it from that door panel. Now we do have a little bit more of a simple interior, really nice brushed accent however. No storage in the lower section, but there is a speaker there. And then very nice interior. Now there are different options for these models. And once inside, we have some storage pockets there's also air vents in the middle. You have the small bulge here, which you could easily put a foot over. So if you are the middle passenger, you still have a comfortable seat. Now this seat is going to be a little bit higher, so I am touching the headliner versus being sunken down in the middle here, where I have about ½ inch or so. Now right in the middle, there's also the armrest. You have cup holders that pop out of the front there, and then this model also gets a rear sunshade, so you can use that as needed. Plenty of glass though, so it's pretty nice for your backseat passengers. Now, as we work our way to the 340, you can lock and unlock this from the back door handle. And then for this interior, there's the ambient lighting. You get cup holder storage space in the lower section there. And then hopping in, no storage behind the back of these seats. You have the vents in the middle, along with some adjustments and auxiliaries, and a little bit smaller of a bulge. So I can sit in the middle. Now in the middle here, I am pretty much sitting upright without touching the headliner. So you get a little bit more space in that middle seat, and then a little bit more, of course, on the sides. Now in the middle, you get the same pull down. Cup holders are in a different spot, but you still get them nonetheless. In this model though, you can fold down the middle seat if you need to. So as we work our way up front, I'm just going to highlight some of the key importances. I have a full detailed review on this. We have reviewed the 500s in the past as well. You have memory seating adjustments, power folding side mirrors, trunk release, and some storage. And then you have the automatic front seats here. As we start this up, there's the flat bottom design for the steering wheel now. Brushed aluminum accents, volume tuning, you have cruise control settings, and then you also have some info to go through the digital gauge cluster. So you have quite a lot of content that you can scroll through here. There's also a layout, and you do have the option of going with the head-up display, which this model is missing. Now there's no storage on this left side. You have your headlight adjustments with one air vent. And then for the infotainment system, you have all these widgets: Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, interior lighting. You can get into your phone, get into your home screen here. You have all of your climates. You can get into your nav, your music, and then heated seats, heated steering wheel, and the temperature adjustments. You have some different trim accents. There's also your air vents, power and volume for the audio. You have wireless charging with auxiliaries and cup holders. There's also shortcuts for that screen. This model also has a 360 camera system, so you get backup assistance along with the automatic parking, and you get all of the visibility that you need for this model. You have some more controls here, along with the different driving modes. So you can go through these as needed. You have auto hold and the e-brake, a little bit of storage with some auxiliaries there, and then a lot more storage in the glove box. There's also garage door buttons up top, and then you have your adjustments for the sunshade and sunroof, as those are both automatic. And then here's a look at visibility. It's pretty easy to see. Pillars aren't that thick, so you have a good view around. Now as we work our way to this 500, the interior is very nice. We have more of those brushed accents. You get memory seating adjustments, no power folding side mirrors, but you do get storage up front. And then really nice design for these seats. And as we start this up now, we do have a different design for the steering wheel. It does not have the flat bottom design to it, but it is still very nice nonetheless. Paddle shifters are on both sides. You have cruise and distance pacing. And then you have some controls for this digital gauge cluster. It's a little bit more simple, but you can scroll through some info right in the middle here. And then you can actually push the entire tack over, where now you can get through a lot more information. You have quite a lot. Look at all of this standard safety features that you can go through. So you have quite a lot. You even have some vehicle settings that you can get into as well. And then when you're done, just push that back to the front there. Now on this left side, you have that sunshade in the rear along with pushing the view button. So while we don't have the same 360 camera system, you still have some visibility to look around this entire model. And then there's also automatic headlights. You have the trunk release, one air vent there. There is some leather on the dash, no head-up display for this. And then for this infotainment system, it is a touchscreen system, and you do have the option of having some info on both sides here. So you can have that split screen, or you can hide it and go to full screen. Now it is much easier to use the controls down below, so that way you can get through all of this. And it's just a little bit different of a layout, just takes some getting used to, but you can quickly go through everything that you need. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, that is projection there, how you can get into your phone. and then you have some other apps that you can update and get into as needed. Now there's the clock along with air vents, and then you have all the physical controls here for all the climates. So unlike being in the screen in the BMW, you can quickly get into your fan speed, your temperature dials, where you'd like the air to go. This model is still rocking the CD player. You have all those adjustments. This does have heated and ventilated seats along with the heated steering wheel. And then you have some drive modes as well. Now those will just change on the gauge cluster. So you'll notice that the tach there will change depending on the mode. You have a snow mode, traction control, auto hold. And then with this system, you have the top-down view and then a few different angles here. And then when you put it into drive, you have auto for that as well. You have cup holders, a lot more auxiliaries in the storage there. And then you have some storage in the glove box, garage door buttons up top. And then with this model, you have the manual sunshade with the automatic glass. And then here's a look at visibility. That pillar might be a little bit bigger, but honestly, it's really not any different, to be honest. Just depends on how you sit in the car and how you feel. Now, before we get both of these out on the road, we have different engines, so we have different exhaust notes. Let's take a listen to how they sound and then see how they drive. So as we set off now behind the wheel for the M340, I have it in sport mode. And again, you can check out the full detailed reviews for more of the driving impressions. But behind the wheel now for the M340, this is definitely significantly different than the IS500. The 500 having that NA V8, I know a lot of people are drawn to. However, with the 340, you can be drawn to this if you're looking for those tuning potentials. It's going to be a little bit harder with the NA V8. You could supercharge it if you wanted to, which is going to cost significantly more than doing a basic tune or some smaller modifications with this inline six. So if that is your goal, if you're looking for a luxury focused sedan where you want to do some tuning, you want to do extra power, you want it to be a little bit more simple, you have, I would say, a much better platform and a bigger following with the engine in the 340i. Now, like I said, you could still do that with the IS500. It's just going to be some more expensive mods and just a different powertrain with how that goes. So I'm not knocking either. I'm just trying to go over the basics with both of these cars. But the 340 is a really nice option. This is a little bit on the smaller side, being the 3 Series, of course, but it still gives you plenty of space. And for that inline 6, it sounds pretty good too. I do wish it was louder. You could fix that with an exhaust, but it sounds pretty good. And it's going to give you what you want as far as a luxury sedan goes. And we have a lot more options that you can throw on this. That's another big key factor is with this 340, this is in the mid $60,000 range. So it's a little bit more on the base side for that starting MSRP. However, it can climb up to maybe 70,000, if not more, just depending on the options that you go with. The IS500 is going to be significantly less as in terms of the options that you can spec it with. It's going to be a little bit, I'd say, easier to spec possibly. There are still quite a lot of options that you can get with it, but 340 is definitely a great option to go with. So let's hop into the IS500 now and see the differences. And behind the wheel now for the IS500, we definitely have a much different vehicle. Seating position is very different. Obviously, we have the different layout here. But if you are looking for a vehicle that has that bulletproof engine, I'm not saying the BMW doesn't, but we have that naturally aspirated V8, which a lot of people are a fan of. This is a great option to go with. And it definitely sounds good. I do wish it was a little bit louder. Interesting that, same with the 340, just the manufacturers don't make them that loud, which is understandable, but I do wish it was much louder. Now, we have been able to drive and ride in the IS500 on a racetrack, and these vehicles really perform better in the higher RPM range, especially with this NA V8. So at the slower speeds I'm doing today, it's not going to be as responsive. So the paddles are a little bit slower there, but when you really do some more performance driving with these, they shine in the higher RPM range. And it's nice that you can wring these out a good bit and just have a really nice performance sedan. Now, I wouldn't say it's the most performance oriented. We have a good bit of power with this, but we don't have any suspension settings or anything further than the driving modes that will just go through your response in the accelerator pedal. But it's a very nice vehicle to drive. If you're looking for something that's not quite as complicated, the M340, as far as the tech goes, isn't all that complicated, but this is definitely a lot more straightforward. So if you're not looking for that, maybe you're not a huge fan of that curved screen. The Lexus did get a bigger screen for the 24-year model, I believe, but I think it looks nice, and it has pretty much everything that you need to go through. So if you want a little bit more simplicity, you can go with the Lexus. But they drive very nice. You have a good bit of storage too. They're comfortable, quiet. Honestly, you really can't go wrong with either of them. And like I said, I have a full detailed review on the 500 if you want to see more of the driving impressions. So back from our test drives now with the BMW M340 and the Lexus IS500. These are both very fun, sporty style sedans. It really just boils down to, do you want some tuning potential with the 340, or do you like that NA V8 engine? Now, like I said, these were quick test drives. I've been in the IS500, where again, it really shines in those higher RPMs. So a little bit different than the turbo in the BMW. So comment down below, are you going to go with the BMW M340 or the IS500? For similar pricing, you get much different vehicles, but they're both sporty and they're going to give you a very practical, smaller size sedan. So comment down below, let me know if you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.